Good morning, class. This week we are going to continue our work into our literary analysis essay. So by last night, Sunday night, you would have turned in your, let me flip here, your first worksheet, which had you, or at least the contents of your first worksheet, which would have you post your story, your text selection, as well as your theme and initial thoughts, and then reply to a classmate or two. So I have already started looking at those as of yesterday on Sunday, and everybody looks like they've got a pretty good handle, the people I've looked at. If you haven't posted, you want to get there to discussion board and get that work up so I can look and see what direction you're going and give you some advice on your theme. So let me go ahead and spend a minute talking about theme in our essay, or really what we're doing with our essay. So let me spend a little bit of time with that. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to present, or I'm going to discuss a presentation I used in my seated class, which involves, it's an interactive, and obviously we're not going to interact because this is asynchronous, but it gives me some opportunities to talk to you all about what we're exploring with this paper. So let me minimize this screen for a second and go ahead and show you some information. So let's go back to our announcement. Talk about what you have to do this week, and then we'll get into talking a little bit about theme. Okay. So, as I said, as of last night, you should have posted the text you're going to analyze and that theme. So, as you know, an analysis essay, as you did with your visual rhetorical analysis essay in 111, breaks down a subject and looks at its components. So in this case, you are going to break down a text. It'll be one of your 4 short stories or the Frost poem that we did way back in the beginning. And I see a few people are going to use that Frost poem as their text. That's great. I'm excited to read all your papers. So what you're going to do is you're going to analyze the theme of that short story and see how you think that theme is presented to you. In other words, how is the theme of Nothing Gold Can Stay presented to the reader? What literary devices or elements reveal that theme to you, the reader? And you're going to argue that that theme is whatever you say it is, and that it is revealed by 3 literary devices like imagery, symbolism, repetition, foreshadowing, whatever 3 you think are appropriate for your story or your text and your theme. So you've already now selected your text. You've selected what you think the theme is. You've sat down and thought about it, which if you go back and think about all the reading responses we did over the past month, all that work that y'all did, and y'all did a lot of work, by the way, and that was good. And I know it was hard work, but that was the foundation for this essay. So now you have a pretty good feel on how to think about and talk about literature. So your job for the first half of the week, and this will be your virtual attendance assignment, is to complete worksheet 2. So this, let me go ahead and open this up. Worksheet 2 builds on worksheet 1. Okay, so let me pull it over. Worksheet 2 goes back and says, okay, back to your theme statement. What literary work and what theme, all in one piece of paper. Now, you want to select the literary devices that you think have best revealed that theme to you. Okay, so what do you think's going on? What do you think that author, what do you think Bradbury and the Pedestrian, or Shirley Jackson in The Lottery? A lot of you are going to write about tradition, blind adherence to tradition, conformity. How do you know that? Why do you say that? So is it symbolism? Is it the conflict in the story? So, for example, in The Pedestrian, there's definitely conflict. There's conflict between the so-called pedestrian with the police car, the unmanned police car, which really they are both symbolic of conformity and individuality. Or is foreshadowing going on in? Do we get foreshadowing in The Lottery when we have the kids playing with the stones early on? So you're going to go through and choose 3 literary devices, or let's just say in the case of symbolism, you think there are 3 major symbols going on, or imagery and symbolism, and you want to talk about 2 types of symbolism and imagery. Or perhaps for example, in The Lottery, we have all kinds of irony going on. So we have situational, we have verbal irony. So what exactly do you want to write about with this paper? And remembering, those devices have to be discussed in relationship to the theme of the story. You're not going to talk about symbolism for symbolism's sake. It's how does symbolism or conflict or characterization reveal that theme to you. All right, so that's step 2. And next, you're going to show me literary device. So symbolism, irony, and point of view. So I'm using The Lottery as an example here. So you're going to go and find some actual point in the story where you think that those devices represent the theme. Okay? Next, you're going to go and try to write a thesis statement, and I have your guidelines with an example on how to write a thesis statement. In other words, you're going to name the author, you're going to name the story, you're going to name your theme, and how it's revealed through your 3 devices to do what. Okay, so that's your job for the first half of the week, and this right here is your virtual attendance assignment and is due on Thursday. Okay, let's go ahead and I'll show you where to submit it just so there's no confusion. Alright, so you're going to come on down here. Here's your calendar. Here we are, worksheet 2. Okay, and I'm going to talk about these folders in a second. Then you're going to pass by this. Everything is in chronological order of when to submit. You're going to submit it right here. Virtual attendance assignment worksheet 2. Here is a handout on how to connect literary devices to theme. I encourage you to read this handout. Look at it as you're thinking about the themes or the devices you want to choose, and then you will submit it here. Now, second half of the week, and I'll come back on your Wednesday check-in and give you some more information on this, finding your sources. But you need to find, you're only going to be required to have 2 sources, but you should find 3 sources in case you just, as you're going through those sources, you realize that one is completely useless, because that happens pretty frequently when you're, working. And you probably remember that from 111. So you're going to go ahead and go find 3 criticism sources at the library, not reference sources, but criticism. If you go back to your scavenger hunt, we had you look for critical articles. I gave you keywords. That's what you're going to do. So again, you could go back and maybe look at that scavenger hunt and see if any of those things you found look useful to you. I really recommend you do that, because I picked keywords that were related to what we were studying for this essay. All right, so let me come back to our announcement. So I also have a little mini lesson that's similar to the worksheet. You can go ahead and read through this mini lesson on choosing your literary devices. And then on Wednesday, I will come back with a mini lesson on your criticism sources. Now, let's go ahead and take a quick look at one more thing, and then I'll close this video out because it's already over 10 minutes. And I'll come back with the second video on theme, wherein I just approach theme in its own video. Okay. So let me just show y'all some things. Make sure you understand where all your materials are. You've got two parts to this. You've got an annotated bibliography worth 5% of your grade, just like your reading responses were each worth 5% of your grade. So this is something you have to do. It's very easy. It's a very straightforward annotated bibliography. The sources you locate this week are, and that worksheet will be the foundation for that annotated bibliography. It is due in about 9 days, on Wednesday the 26th of February. You only need 3 sources. Your primary source, which is your text. You do not need to annotate that. And then your literary criticism 1 and 2. Okay? Your homework for Sunday is to find your sources. And let's go ahead and open this. And do your annotations, your summary, and your analysis. You just need 2 parts to this. Such an easy annotated bibliography. It will include the citation, the MLA citation, a 3 to 5 sentence summary of the source, and an analysis of the source. Okay? It's all you need to do. And then finally at the end, you're going to compare the 2 critics. You're going to have that as a final bit at the end. Okay? Okay. And you have all of your resources for the annotated bibliography, including the assignment sheet, a PowerPoint, the rubric. Here is a sample annotated bibliography. You should look at that, and I will come back and have this, have a whole lecture just on the annotated bibliography. Here's your worksheet, and finally a couple of videos on writing academic summaries and evaluating sources for credibility. All right. The other folder you have has all of the resources for your essay itself. The essay itself, of course, is due March 9th. Here's the assignment sheet. Here's a PowerPoint on the literary, just what a literary analysis is. Here is the PowerPoint that I'm going to come back in the second video and review with you on theme and literature. Here is your 2 handouts, one on theme and one on connecting those devices to the theme. Finally, here are those 2 worksheets, the one you did Sunday, the one that's due Wednesday or Thursday. Here's a sample essay, and then here's your outlining worksheet that is, this is the wrong due date. I need to change that. That's from last fall. Your outlining worksheet that will be due on March 2nd. Okay? So I'm going to close this very long video out, and I'll come back with the second video on theme.